If you're anything like me, you've been spending a lot more time these days making pre-recorded video lectures. And if you're like me and you actually try watching those videos, you realize that they are pretty boring. How do we keep our students engaged when at any moment they get to decide, like, do I want to keep watching my boring professor lecture? Or do I want to watch these interesting and compelling videos that are available all over the place online? What the hell are we supposed to do? Well, I don't have all the answers, but I did get into one super weird pandemic hobby, which was watching lots of YouTube videos and seeing how professional YouTubers make engaging content that gets them lots of clicks and subscribes. So in the next 4.5 minutes, I'm going to try to tell you 10 things that I learned that I think that even you could try to make your lectures and videos just a little bit more engaging. A lot of YouTube videos have an introduction sequence that frames sort of where the person's located, like what building are they in, what city. You can do this super easily just by pulling out your phone on a walk, pointing the camera at some NYU flags on buildings and building tops. It takes honestly nothing, but invites the viewer into where you are that they don't get the presence of normally when they're remote. And also there's many students that are not on campus at all, and filming just a little bit of New York City establishes that connection to campus and NYU. Upbeat and happy music right before a technical lesson actually kind of says, like, this is going to be fun. Just be careful to get a license for the music. If you post videos that have your favorite pop song in them, you might get yourself and the university sued by Beyonce. So I know you think that the slides are really where the information is for your talk or for your lecture, and that's certainly true in a lot of ways. But people often find looking at faces and expressions compelling. Like if your face is really small and dark and off to the side, it's like people enjoy the presence of in-person instruction because you're there, you're physical, your gestures and emotions and facial expressions are all there for them. So don't be afraid to just be the person you are on the video. The next thing is people think, oh, well, I have to have like an expensive camera to pull this off, like whatever Todd's doing. Your cell phone camera on modern cameras is actually much better than your webcam. So if you can record video from your phone instead, that can actually be a lot higher quality video. You can shoot in 4K and everything. You just have to transfer the files just like you would a home movie. The next thing is a little bit awkward for me to say, but you have to be way more enthusiastic than your default way of talking, like an absurd level. I am a monotone speaker with very low energy, okay? Right now, for me to do this and talk to you this way is essentially the same as me standing in the middle of Washington Square, like waving a flag and like screaming my name, okay? But your personality just doesn't come through on video unless you're a little bit amped up. It's much easier to watch a video from someone who seems like they want to be there, who's excited what they're talking about, than for someone who's just sort of like droning on. So in a real lecture hall, you probably move around a little bit, don't just stand behind the podium. But when you're just recording something from your office, there's no reason why you can't move around too, right? Like you can pick the camera up on your laptop or whatever and like, set it on a different piece of furniture and get a different view of your office and your space and your gestures and your body, right? Isn't this better? So brighter, more direct lighting just lights up the scene and makes it more interesting to look at. Now you'll notice that like I have a big window here. That's what I'm looking for. Natural daylight, no artificial lighting. I'm sitting perpendicular to the window so it casts like a shadow across one half of my face. That sort of adds a dramatic effect that a lot of these YouTubers use. If I sit facing the window, I get kind of like flushed out, too much light. Facing backwards, then I'm kind of dark and I'm washed out by the window. Editing is a real challenge because you can take this to kind of like rather extremes, right? Normally what we want to do is kind of like edit out bad takes or digressions that maybe don't seem wise once you review them on video. One thing I've helped me a little bit was to get used to delivering a lecture and just repeating myself anytime I make a mistake. Like if I mistake, you know what I mean? Like if you learn one or two keyboard shortcuts in some of these video editing programs, you can edit that out pretty quickly actually. You want to emphasize some particular thing, then you can just write it across the screen in really huge letters. Like you don't even need to create slides. You can just add some graphic elements just for emphasis along your speech. The final hint, number 10, is sharing videos with chapter markers. So often students want to go back and just review a particular part of a lecture, right? Websites like Vimeo.com allow you to add a table of contents overlay to your videos, which allow there to be chapter titles. And you can use that when you share your videos so students can basically jump to major sections of the lecture and go and review those instead. 10 tips in 5 minutes. Will this make your lectures better? I don't know. You can try.